Hi everybody, welcome to another miscarriage video. So this is going to be another video in the miscarriage series, and I'm really excited about this one. I'm excited to share this with you guys. I hope that you find it very practical and something that you can kind of apply to your day-to-day life. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 ways to choose joy. Something that I really kind of had this realization of when I miscarried was joy a lot of times doesn't always come easily and it doesn't come naturally, and I feel like I had this realization like joy is a choice, and it's a choice that we are either going to decide to fight for or to let go of. And before I miscarried, I always found myself, as a very joyful person. I love my life. I love, I just have so much to be thankful for. And thankfully I've never struggled with depression or anything like that. And so to me, joy just came naturally. And of course it doesn't mean I didn't have hard days, right? But overall, like when I look back on my year, I would think that was a good year. And so when I miscarried, I realized, and it kind of gave me a heart for people who are struggling with depression too, because I realized joy doesn't always come naturally. I don't always feel like I want to be joyful, and sometimes I in fact want to be the very opposite. So I hope this video gives you guys practical ways to choose joy on a day-to-day basis. And like I said before, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have pain and brokenness along with the joy, but I do believe that those two things can coexist and coincide with one another. I'm going to go ahead and get into the video, and I hope that this really blesses you guys. I hope that no matter where you're on or where you're at in your walk, that you can find this to be something that you can apply to your day-to-day life, no matter if you are feeling horribly broken right now and you're in a lot of pain, or if you even find yourself feeling joy. I hope that this just kind of gives you a deeper way to dig into joy and to really fight for it and to choose it. So the first way that I found to choose joy might seem kind of counterintuitive, and the first way that I would say is to acknowledge your pain. Because I felt like, and I've mentioned this in a video before, where if something painful happened, I'm the first person to admit that I would try to throw distractions in my way so that I wouldn't have to feel it, I wouldn't have to focus on it, that kind of a thing. That was always like my coping mechanism growing up. And this, like I think I've mentioned in another video, this was something, having a miscarriage was something that I couldn't ignore, that I couldn't have enough distractions to where I couldn't feel it. So I found that when I started feeling like all of a sudden the tears were about to start streaming out, because before I would just bite my tongue, try to move on, try to be strong. And I found that when I really acknowledged the amount of pain that I was in, and I just allowed myself to really feel it and allowed myself to cry it out, it gave me so much like breakthrough, and I just felt like that I could really grab on to the next thing. Whereas if I continued trying to distract myself or that kind of a thing, I just felt like there was no moving on, like I was going to be fighting it all day. I would be fighting the pain all day long. Whereas when I acknowledged the pain, I could just feel it, allow myself to feel it, allow myself to cry it out if I needed to, allow myself to lay in bed for a minute if I needed to. But when I truly acknowledged the pain and just felt it, that's when I could kind of feel it and then keep going. So that's something that I hope that makes sense to you guys, but it was such a life changer for me, because I just realized, okay, it's okay to feel this much pain. It's okay that I, am completely broken right now. That's okay. And I don't want to ignore that. And I don't want to pretend like it's not happening. I just want to feel it and know that that's okay to be feeling. And like I said, when I truly felt it and when I truly acknowledged the pain, that's when it would take me, however long, let's say 30 minutes or an hour, to just feel it and to be sad and to cry and know that that's okay. But then I could go on with the rest of my day, and it like almost like, I don't know, it just gave me like this freedom to be able to like get it out there and then, keep going on with my day. The second thing that I've also talked about in another video, but is very, very important, is I felt like a really strong way to fight like sorrow and sadness and pain is to come at it with a spirit of thankfulness and to start listing out. Because when you feel super low and you feel super broken, like I said, first off, acknowledge that you're feeling that way, acknowledge the pain, know that it's okay. But then, you don't want to get stuck there. You don't want to let that be your end result, right? And so the next thing would be to start, and I felt like even out loud, just starting to say things that I'm thankful for, things that are going right in my life, rather than focusing on the things that aren't. And that really, really helps. So I'd encourage you to do that, even just to speak it out loud. Even if you can only think of the fact that you are breathing right now, you know, start with that and let it kind of flow from there. And it really will shift your heart into a better place. So the third thing, which I've kind of already touched on, but is to realize that joy is a choice, and sometimes you have to fight for your joy, and sometimes it doesn't always come easy, and you have to know that that's okay. And if you're in a place where you're really feeling like you're struggling to feel that joy or struggling to find your joy, know that that's okay. But I felt like when I was struggling with this, when I realized the fact that I have to make a choice if I want to pursue joy, because that takes a lot of strength when you are feeling broken, you're feeling weak. Naturally, I wanted to just lay in bed all day, and that was that. And there were days where I had to do that because there was nothing else that I could do. But when I wanted to continue on, you know, with the healing process, I just realized, you know, joy is a fight, and it honestly, it can be a hard fight sometimes. And you know, we hear that verse, the joy of the Lord is my strength. And so when you feel like you're just emptied out of joy, you just feel weak. So if you're feeling that, I know what you're going through, but I want to tell you that fight for it, because it's worth it. And you know, when you pray and you ask God to, you know, renew your joy, you know, that was one of the main things that I was praying for the entire time from day one. Of finding out that I had miscarried. You know, it was a few month process where I really felt like I had gotten my grounding again, but that was one thing that I really declared over this year and really asked God for, was to show me a new level of joy. And I can tell you that today, you know, months later, that I honestly I didn't know if I was gonna feel the full capacity of what joy is. But I can tell you that now, today, like where I'm at right now, I feel like I laugh deeper. The joy just runs deeper. And I feel like brokenness, that's a beautiful gift that comes from brokenness, is that when you feel joy, you feel it to the fullest capacity. So know that it's worth fighting for. And when you're feeling sad and you've acknowledged the pain and you've, you know, been thankful and said what you're thankful for, but you're still not feeling maybe that great, then just acknowledge the fact that joy is a choice, and that you're either gonna have to put up a fight or you're gonna have to fall back, and it's kind of one or the other. So I'm encouraging you to fight for it, because it's so worth it, and pray for it, because God is faithful and He will renew your joy. The fourth thing I want to talk about, which is kind of fun, is to give. And there's something about giving that really transforms your heart, especially I feel like when you are fighting for your joy. Kyle and I both found that when, you know, we were hurting and when I was hurting, that when we were able to go give something to somebody, it just like washes over you, this like feeling of just like happiness and of joy. It's like you can't even help it when you give to somebody, when you go bring a meal to somebody, or you go bring flowers to somebody, and you see the smile on your face. It doesn't have to be something extravagant, right? It doesn't have to be, I'm gonna give you this check. A lot of times it's just giving, you know, your time or your presence, so just small gifts, to let somebody know that they mean a lot to you. And when we did that, it just got the focus off of what was going on in my head and like my own pain. And when you give to somebody, even if you give to somebody who's also in pain, it really just brings that unity and that communion. And I just would encourage you, you know, even if it's going to spend time at a food kitchen or a soup kitchen, or you know, going to give out things to the homeless, or even just going to bring flowers to a friend that you've been thinking about, or even writing a letter in the mail, you know, that barely costs anything but a stamp, right? Writing a letter in the mail, you know, really encouraging somebody. I just would encourage you to get creative. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but to give, because I promise you that when you give, you will just have so much joy. And you're not only blessing that person, but it's such a blessing to you as well. The fifth thing is more of a practical thing, and this one can kind of go to the wayside if you're not careful. But the fifth one is to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because I swear there's nothing like getting out of the shower, feeling all clean, even, you know, putting on an outfit if you've been in PJs for the last week, you know, whatever it is, just make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that if you're, you know, indulging in desserts like I was, like indulging in chocolate, make sure that you're giving yourself, you know, good nutrition too, so that you can actually feel like your body feels good, because you don't want your body to be feeling all like groggy and horrible while you're also in all this emotional pain. So really take care of yourself. I felt like for me that it wasn't something that I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get in the shower and get dressed. Like, I wasn't super excited about it at first, but then when it was done, I was like, oh, this feels so much better. So really take care of yourself, and don't forget to be nice to yourself, be nice to your body. Also, exercising is a great way to kind of, you know, release those endorphins, get your body feeling joyful again. So make sure to exercise, even if it's going out for a walk. Like I mentioned in my small group video this week, there's something really, really, really healing about morning light. So go take a walk in the morning, go just, even if you have to just step outside your doorway for 10 minutes in the morning. And I mean, any time of the day is fine, but there's something really like special about morning light. And so I would encourage you, try to get some exercise in, even if, you know, it doesn't have to be going to the gym, because that was like pretty much the last thing that I wanted to be doing during that season. Just going for a walk, or, you know, even laying out in the sun now that it's getting to be summertime, or going out in your backyard, or whatever you can do, you know, going out to a coffee shop and just sitting outside, just something where you're getting outside, you're feeling the light, you're not feeling, you know, all like crammed in your house or your apartment or wherever you're at. So that's the fifth thing, is to take care of yourself, make sure you're taking care of your body and your health, because like I said, you don't want to be feeling physically tired while you're already emotionally tired. So if you can physically feel good, that's going to really help in this healing process. So those are my 5 things, and I just want to wrap up by saying ultimately that your joy is sourced from Jesus. And if you feel like you are completely lacking in that area right now, if you're going through a hard season, obviously, you know, I've been there, I feel your pain. If you've gone through a miscarriage, I know what that feels like, and I'm here to tell you that today I am walking with so much more joy than I ever thought possible. And like I said, I really prayed that God would just show me a new level of joy this year. And a deeper level, you know, something that would just blow my mind. And I feel like I'm walking it out, and it feels really good. And I just want to give you hope that if you maybe just found out that you miscarried, or you're right in that beginning state of the healing process, I just want you to know that it will get better. And also, I just want to tell you too that you don't have to feel guilty about having joy in a hard time. I think that's a pretty common thought, of feeling like, oh, I feel happy, but I probably shouldn't feel happy because this terrible thing just happened. Don't feel guilty about feeling joyful. Like I said, acknowledge the pain, acknowledge the brokenness, and then fight for your joy, because it's worth fighting for. So I hope those 5 things really encouraged you guys, and it's something that you could kind of take home, be practical with. Even if you have to write those 5 things down, I'll put them in a list down in the description box below. But even if you have to write them down and stick them on your fridge just to remind yourself, I would really encourage you guys to do that, because I wish that I had done that from the beginning, but I'm obviously happy that I walked through it and I had to learn those things, because now I can share them with you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys are able to find some joy from these tips today, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!